As has been mentioned a couple times this evening, we have a special change that we're making to our prestigious Spirit of Excellence Award. Kara?
On the heels of United Way of Greater Waterbury's 75th anniversary year, the United Way Board of Directors have unanimously decided to rename this award the James C. Smith Spirit of Excellence Award in honor of recently retired Webster Bank CEO James C. Smith.
Jim Smith was the first campaign chair to break the $2 million mark in 1987. He was instrumental in the founding of both the Leavenworth and the Tocqueville Societies, is a recipient of the prestigious Frederick and Lucy Kellogg Award, and played a critical leadership role in not only the Webster campaign, but in ensuring other companies and their CEOs executed best practice campaigns. Webster Bank was recognized with the very first Spirit of Excellence Award in 1995, and again for their 2004 and 5 campaigns and the 2011 and 12 campaigns.
The naming of this award is also in recognition of the long-rooted Smith family legacy that goes back to our founding in 1942. Harold Webster Smith started First Federal Savings in 1935, with our United Way launching just 7 years later in 1942. The Smith family became intricately involved with United Way of Greater Waterbury from the very beginning. Jim Smith's mother served on United Way Allocations Committee for many years, and his parents both were involved with several campaigns. In fact, his uncle, J. Francis Smith, ran the very first 2 United Way of Greater Waterbury campaigns. And today, along with his wife, Kathy, the 2016 recipient of the Frederick and Lucy Kellogg Award, the Smith family continues to play their part in the impacts of our organization.
The United Way Board of Directors is proud to honor Jim Smith by renaming the Spirit of Excellence Award the James C. Smith Spirit of Excellence Award. Jim?
Good evening, everybody. It's so great to be here and see all the energy in this room around the great activities of United Way and another fabulous campaign. I want to say a special thank you to Don and Kara for the time and effort that they took to arrange this evening's award. Kristen, you've done a fabulous job. I've so enjoyed my association with United Way over the years, and I've learned so much from it. You know, in the last month or so, I've had a chance to meet with the leadership team, including Kristen and Don and Peter Baker and Kara, and reconnect as I try to do on an annual basis. And I was so taken by the aspects of true caring that permeates the organization. And even as the mission evolves, as it does in all of our organizations as well, to where basic needs gives way to things that are equally as important and must be addressed, including financial stability and education, because you have to look more holistically at life. And the United Way is able to address those needs and still be able to be the most efficient, effective way to support local services to local people that need a hand up so that they too can have an opportunity to live with dignity. And I look at what's happening with the emerging leaders group and the young people that are getting involved in United Way and the way that they have been able to spread their reach to engage people that really care about the future of the community. And it is so impressive to me that year in and year out that United Way meets the test and serves the community beautifully. And it was music to my ears this evening to be listening to the report on services provided and the metrics of this is the impact that we're making on 350 families, on 1,300 families, where we're making a difference in their lives. And I salute all of you, all of us who are associated with and who care so much about United Way, because we truly do make a difference in our community. So to United Way's leadership team, bravo to all of you. You are absolutely extraordinary. I loved listening to my colleague Tamika Cribbs from Webster Bank talk about the emerging leaders, and then, she brought up the bed race, and then Mark Lombardo was talking about the bed race as well, and I was like, yeah, I remember that bed race back in 1987, 31 years ago. Wouldn't you think I would have forgotten it by now? We were in the lead, we were coming down the stretch, and then we took a wheel on the bed, and then we took another wheel, and the sparks were flying everywhere, and Waterbury Hospital just shot right past us to the finish line. I still wake up in the middle of the night, I should have used Ralph Carpinello's casters on those wheels, I think. I also want to acknowledge and express my deep admiration for Mark Lombardo, who's done such a great job for the city of Waterbury and is so deeply involved in the community. And Liz Brown, what you've done over a career is so extraordinary. And Sandy Sennett, so absolutely deserving of the Kellogg Award. And I've seen you in action and worked side by side and learned a lot from you over the years, and I have deep respect for all of your contributions. So it's just an absolutely fabulous celebration. For me, I'm deeply touched to have this particular award named in my honor. I have to really think it's Webster Bank's honor, but it really means a lot to me. For one, as someone reminded me, they said, just think about it, you're still alive, and they named something after you, so, so I'll go with that. But part of the reason it's so meaningful to me is that we really cared about the campaigns that we ran. And to be acknowledged for that, for something that's so important in my life, which is my connectivity to United Way, which is really part of who we are at Webster Bank, because we believe so much in giving of ourselves in our community, and United Way gives us the best opportunity to be able to do that. And so I'll share one little story with you that how I got involved in United Way when I came back to Waterbury in 1975 was my cousin Jack Smith was on the board at the Boys Club, and he suggested that I go meet Mario Generali, who some of you probably still remember, who was the great executive director there, and I did, and I fell in love with the place, and I was involved in the Boys Club directly for 10 years and indirectly long after that. And I learned so much from the association. So not only was I a donor to United Way, because that's part of the introduction to banker life at Webster, but I also was involved in an agency, and I was actually president of the club for a few years, and I remember Mario and I working on those budgets on New Year's Eve. Got to get this done. Got to get this done, Jim. No, got to get this done, Mario. And there we were. We got those budgets done, we got them in. And so I saw it both from the donor's perspective and from the grantee's perspective. And by the way, my mother was really tough on the allocations committee. Even Dick Dumont will acknowledge that. And so I really got to see it. And I was able to then translate that into how I believe that Webster should approach its United Way activities. And basically, if I were to summarize the 10 best practices that we understood were the best way to run a campaign, so we said, we're going to figure out how we can check the box on all 10 of those, but do it in a way that's really meaningful. And if I could make an analogy, it's like comparing it to a sport. United Way is a team sport. It's a sport that's played all year round. It has a culmination, the playoffs, I guess you could call it, which is the campaign itself, but then you start again. And every team has to have a captain. And the captain of the team should be the leader of the organization, the CEO, the senior executive in the organization, because that person has to believe in it to make it go. And then that person has to want to recruit others to be a part of it. And it has to be a year-round activity that's constantly reinforced, where you have exposure to people who benefit from it. You're constantly telling the story of United Way and why it's important, and that it is the most efficient, effective way to get those services into the community. And then you need to rotate some of the people in the group. And you have to promote your future leadership into that part of the organization, so they realize that it's part of your DNA, it's part of who you are, it's part of being part of the community. At Webster, we talk about taking personal responsibility and respecting people's dignity and ethical behavior and giving of ourselves in the communities that we serve. That is so very, very important. And then working together with our teammates to achieve outstanding results. And so people who are advancing in the organization get an opportunity to serve as the chairperson of the campaign. They get a vice chairperson who came from the people that are getting involved. We have at least 60 people across our organization that are involved in United Way all year long because we think it's that important. And you don't all have to do that, right? But you have to observe the basic rules of how it goes. Then you have to have stability in this as well. Our stability is named Kathy Luria, who has been an integral part of every campaign while the world is revolving. And then you find that you believe in it, and it reinforces who you are, and you understand it more, and you want to invest more. I mean, in our house, Kathy and I joke all the time, and she said this, 25 years ago, well, in our house, it's either the Webster way or the United way, and it's basically posted on the refrigerator door, right? So I just want to, acknowledge all the Webster bankers that are here tonight, because every Webster banker in this room is involved in the campaign in one way or another, has chaired the campaign, vice chaired the campaign. Would you all please stand up and be recognized? Thank you. And then you have to communicate and communicate and communicate, because people that you're asking to consider a donation have to understand why. And you have to try to get them involved. And you need the people from the agencies to come and talk, the people who benefit from the services to come and tell people why it's important, why it's made a difference in their lives. Think of those 300-some people that would have been evicted that are still living where they were, that have a chance that they wouldn't have had otherwise. I mean, that is value added, and it's why I think we all so much respect United Way, including for evolving as it should and being a convener as appropriate. I also want to say that just because somebody retires doesn't mean that their responsibility to United Way goes away. Okay? And I'm not just talking about me, right? I'm looking around out there, right? Yeah, we're getting up there, aren't we, friends? Right? No, if anything, our responsibility increases because we have more time to be able to invest. It isn't just the financial contribution. It's the time and the talent that we invest as well. And so I encourage everyone, not only do we continue to give at the leadership level, but to the extent we have more time to be involved, we should do that. So I am so privileged to be able to present the Spirit of Excellence Award, and dare I say, the James C. Smith Spirit of Excellence Award, with appreciation to United Way and to all of you. Thank you. So the Spirit of Excellence Award is given annually to the company that completes a well-organized, effective United Way campaign that yields a positive, enduring legacy for years to come. The 2018 honor goes to Neopearl, a company whose employees have a long history of giving back to the community, and this year they went above and beyond to make a difference.